everyone, welcome to this month's garden tour. This month in the garden we've got so many beautiful things. This is the month where the garden is in full bloom. We spent a lot of time in the garden this month, picking, pruning, weeding, and planting our winter garden.
So sweet.
The onions are starting to bulk up. That's really exciting. The basil is going to seed, so it's time to pick all of that and preserve whatever's left over here. Our spare mint is in full bloom, and I'm gonna pick it just before it fully flowers here and save some of that for tea. The Brussels sprouts are starting to form little tiny bulbs. That'll be ready later on in the fall for us to harvest. Our quinoa bush is in full bloom and will probably start changing color here pretty soon. The tomatoes are looking so beautiful, still very green, and now I'm looking out for it to start changing color. And we can start harvesting some to preserve. That have now dried and are nearly ready for harvest with a little chickpea in each of these pods. That was a nice thing to grow this year and see how it turns out, and I will definitely grow way more in the future because this is obviously not a lot of chickpeas, but for what I planted, I mean 1 or 2, maybe 3 bushes here, that's, you know, a nice harvest to see how that grows. And the peppers are exploding. So many good things, so exciting to harvest. This is the time that we garden for, to harvest and to preserve the food that we are gonna eat for the rest of fall, winter, all the way into spring. So let me show you some beautiful snippets of our garden this year. Sweet potatoes are doing their thing, and I suspect that we will have lots of sweet potatoes, which are kind of growing underneath this tomato trellis. So we'll see how that goes, as long as they keep sort of taking over this ground. If I'm not mistaken, that is my very first sugar pumpkin, which is really exciting because I love making pie in the fall. And I've always wanted to grow my very own sugar pumpkin so that I can make pumpkin pies with my own pumpkins. I buy so many of them in the fall, so it's really worthwhile if I can grow my own. Our pumpkins and our zucchinis are doing really well. The flowers are looking gorgeous. I also spent a lot of time picking flowers this month. The eucalyptus plants are coming along, and I've harvested a few branches. We're also picking some of these snapdragons and the lovely bountiful rudbeckias. The lupins made a second appearance, which I do not mind. There's some yarrow still coming up, but it's mostly dying off now. My other favorite, these beautiful asters, which is surprising me how long they can last in a vase. So it's definitely between the dahlias and the asters for me this year. They are both gorgeous and definitely the champions with the flowers this year. We also picked up potatoes that we planted earlier this year. They were ready for harvest. We didn't plant that many this year, but we got really nice varieties, purple, pink, and I believe, yeah, some kind of white variety from a friend of ours who lives close by, and so we just stuck them in the ground kind of near the end of where they were supposed to be planted, but we're so happy to even have any harvest at all. So we have picked them out of the ground, and they are right now in the seedling cabinet, drying out, going through that process where they are curing for the winter season so we can store them and eat them as long as they will let us. winter garden, I planted some spinach, some new kale, Swiss chard, purple orac, which is a beautiful plant. I can't wait to show you. It makes these lovely purple leaves. More to come on that later in the upcoming garden tours. We also planted some new beets and carrots, and we'll succession sow those as the weeks continue on, so that we have a continual harvest all throughout the winter into spring.